It is no secret that Star Wars has been struggling, that Lucasfilm is a loser under the tutelage of Kathleen Kennedy. We don't like to be negative, but there's no way around noticing box offices are down, ratings crashing, and it all seems to be related to Kathleen Kennedy. But you won't see that on her Wikipedia page. Only positivity there. So what's going on? Folks, we've got an exclusive for you. Hello, folks, and welcome back to The Winning Side, where truth is, well, what we do every single day, as best we can. Unlike Icarus, we don't want to fly too close to the sun, so we never claim to be the absolute truth. But we do our best to approximate it, and we're doing just fine. Lord Connor, he's always doing fine. He's a fan favorite of the channel. We welcome you back, Lord.
Thanks for having me.
Today we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy, and specifically, Lauren, there seems to be an effort to make sure that nothing bad, especially during this time, wink wink, is attached to Kathy. Now, folks, if you don't know, Kathleen Kennedy, we believe her contract is running out in just a few days, and we don't have any inside information regarding whether or not she'll be leaving Lucasfilm or whether she gets an extension. Speculatively, I lean towards her getting a short extension, but I also believe that the likelihood now is that this upcoming limited release documentary about John Williams, the composer, is probably the last movie that Kathleen Kennedy has her name attached to as the head of Lucasfilm. Now, Lauren, here's where things get interesting. Out of That Park Place, releasing this morning, folks, says Kathleen Kennedy's secret Wikipedia clash for the control of Star Wars official narrative. This is an exclusive you'll hear nowhere else until now. It says the internet can be an ugly place. At the same time, it's a bounty of wisdom, the repository of essentially all human knowledge, and even the location where many go for the official approved narratives of our time. Rising out of the World Wide Web early on, Wikipedia not only became the destroyer of essentially every encyclopedia on the planet, it also became crucial in setting what is seen as fact and or fiction. As a result, maintaining control of what is said on Wikipedia pages is very important to very important people. Kathleen Kennedy is the head of Lucasfilm and the shepherd of all things Star Wars, Indy, Willow, LucasArts, and more. For many, she's not succeeded in keeping those franchises vibrant. You can see we've got a look here at the fall off of every single Star Wars movie trailer under her and how those trailers depreciated in interest. Folks, we would have to click on it for you to see the full thing. Just know that after The Last Jedi, it begins dropping precipitously. We also have here from Voyager Descend, a look at every single one of the Disney Plus live-action Star Wars shows and how they've been dropping subsequently. Each and every one of them dropping in ratings. Until, take a look at that in, I guess you would call that fuchsia, Lauren, the acolyte down here at the very bottom. And the reason that it's not tracked, the reason it stops halfway is because it stopped even making the Nielsen ratings, so they couldn't track it anymore. Says, despite controversy surrounding her handling of the Gina Carano situation, an ongoing lawsuit against Lucasfilm funded by Elon Musk, dwindling ratings on Disney Plus, and the latest Indiana Jones movie having been one of the worst financial flops in the history of cinema, you might not know that reading Kennedy's Wikipedia page. And that's because, Lauren, it turns out there seems to be an effort to protect Kathleen Kennedy on her Wikipedia page. So let me show you what I got. We're going to skip down, okay? Here's an image that we have been provided with, and it is responses to efforts to include what I believe are relevant things that have happened in Kathleen Kennedy's career surrounding her tenure at Lucasfilm, and time after time after time, they're stopped. Folks, you can see the information there. We won't go into it deeply. And again here, from another section, time after time after time, people attempting to put in things about Kathleen Kennedy that are pertinent to who she is, well-sourced, objective, not allowed. And just taking a look at how often this happens, Lauren, this is just, the image we're looking at now is just July and the beginning of August in 2024, and over, specifically this character here, Nemov, I guess. I don't know this person, don't know their motivations. I'm not trying to make any kind of negative statement about them. They may have good reason for doing this, but you can see any effort to change her Wikipedia page to update it is prevented over and over and over. So what does Kathleen Kennedy's Wikipedia page look like? Well, first of all, they're begging us for money over here on Wikipedia. And don't know if folks want to provide it or not. Not here to tell you. But if we scroll through, Lauren, you can see that basically Kathleen Kennedy's Wikipedia page now has some basic stuff about who she is, her early life and education. It goes through her career. The present is very short. That's insanely short. From the time she takes over Star Wars, she gets 3 sentences. It lists out what all she's been involved in, and then it gives accolades. There is nothing in her Wikipedia page that would let you know that she's involved in quite a bit of controversy. And to return to the article, we can see, she has been involved, again, in some of the biggest flops in the history of cinema, dwindling ratings on Disney+. Many of her franchises are struggling to the point that people wonder, is she the worst head of a studio in Hollywood? She's facing a lawsuit by Elon Musk. None of it is being allowed to be on Wikipedia. So before we go any further, and I've got some thoughts about how this is operating across the rest of Wikipedia pages for some of the Disney executives. Lauren, your thoughts on this? Is this surprising at all? What do you think about the idea that there's apparently a system, either purposefully created or maybe organically created, a system of gatekeepers stopping anything negative from becoming part of the official narrative?
I guess I've got thoughts from 2 different angles. The first is that while I've never been an editor on Wikipedia or anything like that, it is kind of a community-driven resource in the sense that you have people that have editorial positions there. And so it's not surprising that you have people arguing about the content there, or that there would be gatekeepers present that would potentially be the ones most active on a particular article or personality. And they kind of become the filter through which everything gets sent. The other thing that I would say is that this is exactly what I would expect from a PR firm. You have people whose entire jobs is to manage the public image of individuals or corporations. And so it would not surprise me at all if these high-powered people have people on the payroll to do exactly that. That's kind of the currency of the realm, is your reputation. And that's going to be something they're going to jealously protect and pay very well to make sure that negative information doesn't come out, particularly in a place where you can insert somebody in a position of editorial control.
So let me ask you this then, Lauren. It seems to me there are individuals, although, again, I cannot know their motivation. They are rather anonymous, and we don't have any problem with anonymity on this channel for clear reasons. We think anonymity is, in some cases, a very good and important thing in order to be able to do the necessary functions of society. But Lauren, if there are people who are freezing her Wikipedia page in place, that seems to me to be advantageous to her as we get into this Gina Carano lawsuit. So you can imagine that if the precedent is being set, and Wikipedia these days, I believe, truly does sort of declare what the official narrative is. Wikipedia is often referred to now. I remember back, 15 years ago, professors would not accept it in college, right, for academic papers or anything. And I think some of that has sort of subsided now. People really look at Wikipedia as being authoritative on quite a few issues, depending on how historical these characters are that you're looking at in an article versus how much of a hot topic it is. But Lauren, if we get into the Gina Carano lawsuit and stuff comes out, it's great for Kathy if people don't want to be chatty about those things on her Wikipedia page. Make sense?
Sure, absolutely. I would never argue that this isn't advantageous for her. In fact, that's the point. That's why you would have somebody in that position to make sure that negative stuff is squelched as quickly as possible. I think my disagreement with you would be how legitimate I would view Wikipedia as a source. It may be that the general public is accepting it more than they used to. I wouldn't put myself in that camp for precisely these kinds of reasons. Whenever you have a controversial subject that comes up in any kind of fandom, any kind of news item, anywhere that it's going to be on a wiki, there's almost always brutal clashes between the sides while they're editing quickly. You saw that happen with The Acolyte, in fact, on Wikipedia.
You explain to the audience that one, Lauren.
So the first thing had to do with Ki-Adi-Mundi and his age and how
And that's
he
a
came.
character in Star Wars, folks. In case anyone out there thought Lauren suddenly was speaking in tongues, that's a Star Wars character.
Yeah, and he had an established age in the old EU, but the EU now being Legends, Lucasfilm felt comfortable tossing that away so that they could have a cameo for a character who shouldn't have been of the correct age yet. And on the night that that episode aired, Wikipedia immediately started updating his character bio, and people immediately started going and editing it back, and it became a big controversy. We talked about it back then. Now, granted, that's Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, but it's still the same basic software, operates the same basic way. This is the kind of thing that you see when people have differing opinions and open access to edit articles on a pseudo encyclopedia.
And I think, Lauren, I think both of them, whether it's Wikipedia or Wikipedia, I think they're both Wokipedia. Now, Lauren, after the cheesy dad joke, let me say this. My pushback to you is going to be that I agree with you. What we're talking about is, what does the general public believe? And then within that is the value that celebrities and powerful people might find in maintaining control of a Wikipedia page. I'm not, by the way, saying that Kathy is doing that, or any entity on her behalf. We're covering this. There's more investigation to do. So we're not ready to make that kind of a leap yet. We would not. That would be far too hasty. All of that said, Lauren, some slight pushback here, and that is, it may be more than the general public that's at stake when it comes to editing and controlling Wikipedia pages. The reason I say that, artificial intelligence is seeming to use these pages more and more as its source within its neural network for deciding what's reality and what's not. And so if AI is depending on Wikipedia to make a judgment about Kathleen Kennedy, you can see how that becomes problematic in the future.
It's kind of interesting that you mentioned that, because I just recently, in another portion of my life, had to write an article about how AI is being used to craft let's say, more effective phishing campaigns and to influence social media and
phishing with a PH, folks. He's not trying to draw out critters of the sea.
Right. Yeah. And so it's not just a matter of AI relying on these sources for their large language models to create judgments. It's also that bots are influencing social media to put certain trends out into the ether. So it's sort of like an Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail. And there is danger in that. And that's why, if you're going to rely on a source, first of all, you want to find out what sources are they citing to support their arguments, and then you want to investigate those as well. Don't rely on a single source for anything in today's day and age. You actually have to do some legwork and some research and make your own judgments.
That's right. And also, I would say, seek out humans speaking human languages, telling you what they've investigated if they're highly adept at understanding any area of expertise. So anyway, I would say when people come to this channel, for example, they may be slightly shocked at how often our perspective is negative about what Disney or Star Wars or Marvel are doing. And then that might be because they've been paying attention to corporate narratives that serve the purposes of corporations. And when they come here, we're talking about a company that's lost something like 60% of its value in 3 years. And it's really hard to justify not being majority negative when that's happening, because that's an abysmal failure financially and all of the stuff that goes in that. Real quick, Lauren, let me just show this. I want people to understand what's going on with the Kathleen Kennedy Wikipedia page does not seem to be the norm. And we're going to be researching this. We're going to be looking to see, are other executives and celebrities having this same sort of discourse happening behind the scenes about how to hold their Wikipedia articles in place. Folks out there, you can become citizen journalists if you want to on this topic. Get out there and do the research for us. There are thousands and thousands of executives and celebrities. We can't track every single one of them, but you're fantastic at finding the patterns and sending that to us. But Bob Iger is also a controversial figure, CEO of Disney, has come back after retirement. And in coming back after retirement, which wasn't really retirement, the stock is down, as we said, something like 60% in 3 years. Things not going well for Bob. Yet if we take a look, here are the requests for changes. A career shift, an example of America's Funniest Home Videos. Modify one sentence, remove one sentence. That's it. Like, this is it. There's very little here. If you go look at the one for Kathleen Kennedy, it is non-stop. Like, you will go on forever. It just keeps going and going and going. And so, Lauren, what I would say about that is, well, let me just show people here. Here's the Kathleen Kennedy revision history. These are the efforts being made to get in there and modify, update, perhaps make it more accurate. Perhaps there's somebody out there trying to, ruin it. But it's just, if you go through all of these changes that are being attempted, it's nonstop. No. And you can keep going. I mean, this looks nothing like if we take a look at what's going on with Bob Iger's page. All right, Lauren, your thought.
Yeah, I mean, it gets kind of interesting because there's been arguments as to where does the blame officially lie? Is it with Kathleen Kennedy? Is it with Bob Iger? I think that there's a case to be made for both of them. But it's kind of weird when you think about this, because to the diehard fans, we know who Kathleen Kennedy is. And I think the public knows who she is now far better than they used to, primarily because of South Park. But when you're talking about edits to articles like this, I don't think that's for the general public's consumption, because I don't think most of the general public, even if they know who she is, are probably going to be interested in looking her up on Wikipedia and paying micro attention to what she's done in her career. This is for her career itself, which means that it's for investors' eyes.
Well, let me ask you this, Lauren. Hate to interrupt. Let me ask you this, though. I'd love to get your thought on it. If we go down here and we take a look at her accolades, does it not make sense that if someone has a devoted section just for accolades, which artificial intelligence is going to read this, it's going to use this to give answers to prompts and questions, would it not stand to reason that perhaps there should be a section that's called controversies? Just tell us what they are. You don't have to pick a side. You don't have to validate them. You don't have to endorse them. Just, hey, Wikipedia, in order to be fair, just say, here's what she's been praised for, and here's what she's been criticized for. There, you do with it what you want. And it's not there, and it's not being allowed to exist. That's where I come to this and I say, who is it who's doing this, and why do they want to maintain it like this? Like, who is making sure this remains biased?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I would lean towards thinking this is an image management firm. It's just as likely that it could be somebody who is what we would call a pixie duster. They're very dedicated and very interested, and so I could see somebody doing that on their own time if they wanted to. But if you go back to that accolades section, it definitely reads like something that's professionally done. This is a professional accolade sheet that you would see, say, during Oscar nomination time. And so to me, this is more like something that an image firm would be putting out than some random editor who's working on this Wikipedia article, especially if you have one individual in particular who seems to be gatekeeping the editing of the article.
And again, folks, we cannot declare motivations. We are speculating specifically in this video, but this is the beginning of a process whereby we are going to start looking into this to find out, is there some sort of vast conspiracy of Wikipedia editors who are maintaining positive imagery for executives and celebrities? We have no idea. We don't know that about Kennedy yet, but we wanted to bring it to your attention. Folks, you can take a look at the full details of everything we found out so far over on thatparkplace.com, Kathleen Kennedy's secret Wikipedia clash for the control of Star Wars official narrative. I would just suggest, as we get ready to summarize, I would just suggest that if you're trying to say, if you're Disney, or if you're Kathy, or if you're Lucasfilm, and you want people to have a positive view of Star Wars, there is a massive financial interest, although I'm not suggesting that they're doing anything at all, but there is a massive financial interest in maintaining only positive parts in the official narrative. And if people are querying, ChatGPT or Grok or any number of AIs and future AIs, and if that's the future of the internet, by golly, seems to me that there's going to be a big time effort to keep everybody looking squeaky clean for that time and day. Because folks won't be going to Wikipedia. They'll just be asking their phone, hey, who's Kathy? Hey, what has she done great? And it's going to give all these answers. And then they're going to say, hey, what are some controversies she's in? And it'll say, Kathleen Kennedy is not involved in any controversies that I can find. For more information, check her Wikipedia page. And that'll be the end of it. Lauren, you get the end of it. Final word, sir.
I don't really have any deep thoughts about this other than that I think the danger of what you're describing is when people begin relying on AI to source their article information and having that information scrubbed as you're describing, because you're getting into very Orwellian territory then. That's when you start erasing history, erasing language, and if you are only accepting what the screen tells you, that's a bad place to be. And that's why you have to do your individual research from multiple sources and try and determine who is it that's actually digging down to find what the truth is. And then you have to make your own decision based on the weight of the evidence you find, what you choose to believe.
Well, Lauren, this is why I believe, at least one aspect, why they wanted what was then Twitter, now called X, so badly. If they could have maintained the total control of the internet, they could have controlled where AI is going in terms of what it promulgates and gives to people. So I think the free speech is a huge deal, but also curtailing free speech such that the narrative is utterly controlled by artificial intelligence moving forward. It's a way bigger battlefield, I think, than most people perhaps understood when Elon Musk made the purchase and switched it to X. Having so many voices there. And by the way, I think X is a safeguard for YouTube. And so YouTube is a huge deal now, right? So you've got X and YouTube as these free speech, essentially, with boundaries, but you've got X and YouTube as these free speech repositories, and that is preventing some of that from occurring in the full Orwellian manner that we hope never comes into existence. Lauren, I got to tell you, I love having conversations with you. I love the places that it goes. I also love listening and tuning into the stuff that you're involved in. Tell the folks out there about your channel as well as the Genre Guys.
Yeah, my YouTube channel is Lauren Connor 9030. I read Star Wars novels there. There's several that have been done. The one that we're working on right now is Shadows of the Empire. And as for the Genre Guys, I get together with my pals Lou Wasserman's Ghost and a Hangry Table, and we talk about great movies from the past. Sometimes we go with dark horse picks. Sometimes we'll touch on some classics, and then occasionally we have some movies that Hangry suggested, and we endure those.
Well, folks, it's never an endurance to listen to the Genre Guys. We love having them go back and watch great entertainment, and then you get to listen to the analysis of what makes it great. It's something that's in demand right now, but unfortunately, the supply is limited of great stuff coming out. We hope that reverts and inverts and goes back to what we once had. And folks, if you want to get the Genre Guys, well, there's two ways to do it. First of all, become a member of this channel, and you'll get access to Genre Guys episodes ad-free for 90 days. After those 90 days, those episodes go to That Pod Place, the YouTube channel where you can watch them. They will have ads, but still, folks, if you're interested in finding out what are the Genre Guys, go there now to That Pod Place and check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very fun conversation, and frankly, I don't think it's anything remotely like rage baiting that sometimes people will say, oh, all those YouTubers out there, they're just rage bait clickbaiters. Folks, drop a comment down below and let us know. Did you find this intellectual discourse to be on the positive side of things? We think so, because we're trying to aim the world in a positive direction. But you let us know. Be our barometer. Tell us, are we doing well? And we would love to hear back from you. Also, like, share, subscribe, and click it. Stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell. Ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, we have the honor of joining you. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
You know what would be a real treat this Halloween? Checking out WDW Pro. He's got all the sweet news on his Thursday live show at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Not to mention, His daily videos are a real treat.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars. Get it?
You know, we should go and make sure we're subscribed.
Guys, I'm the ghost of Star Wars.
And while we're at it, we'll ring that bell to make sure we're notified.
Great, let's go. Because, well, we actually care about that. Let's go.
Fact. Star Wars is not dead. It's haunting the staffs of Disney Plus.